Hello everybody. I thought I just recorded this. I think my phone is acting up. Maybe it's I was walking around a lot. I am down by my little river after my workout. It's a little babbling stream here. It's a little bit bigger than a stream. It's beautiful. A little bit of slightly overcast day. I don't know if that's the government spray or if it's actual overcast. Hard to tell right now. My wife and I are heading out later to buy a Christmas tree. Christmas tree prices have gone up a little bit, and it's part of the charade. It's going on right now, part of the assault. They have just pulled out, as of this recording, the date and time of this recording, they've pulled out a bright, shiny, new, unwrapped, freshly unwrapped, receipt in hand, straight from the store, straight from the warehouse, strain. And they've named it, a long word, it begins with an O. Oh, what a con. Funny thing about it is they named it something different just prior, I think that morning that they released it, or released the information about it. And they called it New, N-U. And I think that they changed the name for two reasons. Well, they did this for two reasons. They changed the name ultimately to a much longer, thornier, edgier, a lot of turns and twists kind of word so that the algorithm can sink its teeth into it. Algorithm has a hard time recognizing something like new, N-U, because it sounds like so many other words that we use on a daily basis. But they did want to call it new, and they knew that ahead of time. It wasn't like they released it and said, oops, we named it the wrong thing. They named it new originally because of what new is as a symbol. It is a term used in clinical psychiatry, I believe, has to do with conditioning, has to do with classical conditioning in the Pavlovian sense. It means, it's a symbol for the peak stimulus, the alpha stimulus, the peak thing, the final stimulus that gets laid on a subject to promote a desired behavior. With new, what you're supposed to be able to do is instill the behavior and then remove all stimuli, and the behavior is worn into the neural framework. It is permanent at that point. That's why they named it new. It's a little peekaboo, hi, see you, kind of bit of bullshit that they put out originally before they gave an algorithm confusing name as a replacement. So that's what this is. Very simply put, that's exactly what this is. It's good news. It's very good news. I hope they put the pedal to the metal with this particular thing, because it seems to be waking people up at a lightning fast pace. I've bounced around from site to site, news site to news site, all around, local news, different states, different national outlets, and the comment threads are beautiful. They're a thing to behold. It's like almost 100% negative, laughing at this. They know it's bullshit. A lot of people are waking up. Even those who believe in the narrative, they're tired. They're done with it. Over. They don't care anymore. I think a lot of people are embarrassed that they actually fell for this, and probably they should be. Okay? It's like 99 point something percent in the comment threads, and that's a usually when you say 99.9%, it's really funny. That's what that number has gotten bandied about in the last year and a half, 2 years, quite a bit, and it's a bullshit number. When someone says something is 99.9% effective or gets 99.9%, they've done this in advertising for over a century. They're telling you they're lying. There's no way to judge that 0.01%. There's no way. It would require an infinite amount of research and time that's largely unavailable in this realm to establishment, institution, as well as individual, because of the linear nature and the speed with which things flow, even prior to most technologies. So when they say 99.9%, and it's funny, they use that number quite a bit. They even admitted it in their deepest reaches, darkest levels, that was the rate at which this thing didn't matter. They're telling you, they're lying. They're saying, hey, we're full of shit. That's what 99.99% means, bullshit. That's exactly what that means. But okay, so overall, good news. Hope they push it more, because it just means more people wake up. They're off their rockers. They're out of their gourd. this is done, virtually done. For many people, it's way over. You see the gigantic protests going on. Pretty funny. They stepped in it, literally and figuratively. Okay. Hey, hope you all enjoyed Thanksgiving. Have a great rest of the holiday season, and I'll talk to you soon. Hi, friends. How are you? Just got done working out as usual. This is my contemplative time. The working out, it's a very meditative. The brain juices get flowing and little pockets of information get opened up, I guess. Thoughts. Yeah. We've got this mainstream thing happening right now on a little short, bald, tatted up guy who's got one of the most popular podcasts in the world, Cr0h Jogan. Just interviewed a doctor who is ostensibly on our side of things. It took him a long time. I know he's published and he's been saying stuff for a long time, but here's what this is for. Why does Jogan still have his podcast? Why hasn't he been canceled? Because he's been saying some things. He's been shifting over, hopping the fence lately. And it's because he's meant to do this. They're turning the tide on this a little bit. I've talked about this before. I've predicted this. I think he's turning the tide on. They're utilizing him to turn the tide on this, and this doctor is meant to do this too. They still talk about the little spiky ball floating through the air as if that's a real thing, and it's not. So anytime someone's in that frame of reference, you know it's more than likely bullshit. Bullshit mixed with a lot of truth. Okay, he is speaking truth in regards to a lot of things, but here are my thoughts on this. They want eventually to get us all on some form of identity, digital identity thing, okay? Controllable. They know they're not going to get a large portion of us because of this, so they got to hop the fence along with Jogan leading the way, right? And how they're going to do that is, now this is just an idea. I haven't worked out the particulars of this in my head because I was just running. And the idea has been rattling around in my brain for quite some time. But, and I, like I say, I've not clocked the particulars. I knew I was going to talk about this today, and I didn't bother to develop an outline. But what they're going to do, they want to now demonize the very people who've obeyed and cast them as the typhus carrying and bar them from places, and subsequently to make us prove our cleanliness. So, very clever way to get all of us into a digital ID form. And a lot of us are going to comply. A lot of us are going to go, yep, just to kind of stick it to the people who've given us hell over the last year and a half, 2 years. That's not good. That's not a good thing. We should walk arm in arm with them and put this thing down once and for all. But I think that's what's happening. Someone asked me last night, a good friend of mine. I'm in a new musical project, by the way, with a songwriter, and he's of a like mind, luckily, and we find common themes to talk about before we start our work in studio. But he asked me, how does the PSYOP work? How does that work? Do they sit these people down like a Porton Jeterson? Do they sit that Canadian professor down with his little blonde daughter and say, here's what you're going to do? No, I don't think so. I think they subtly direct them. I think in some cases they do. I think when he was exiled in Russia for a time, or some Eastern Bloc region with his daughter, they got to his daughter, and that's why she put on the theater of having caught this particular malady twice. Yeah, despite being vaccinated. I gotta cut that out. Despite being gin-ected. And they got to him through her. Okay? That's how they do it in extreme cases, very extreme cases. They actually threaten the person and sit them down or make them come to understand that there's a rooftop and a pavement below with their name on it. And sometimes they just subtly direct them with financial incentive and otherwise, or blackmail incentive, whatever it might be. And that was our discussion. And then with Rogan, I think, or Jogan, excuse me, I think that they're using a variety of things, near as I can tell. I've heard things about him. I don't know if they're true or not, but I was in the comedy world here where I live for a time, and he's come through quite often, and there are quite a few female comedians. I'm not saying he's done anything. They claim otherwise, but who knows? A lot of these comedians can be trusted about as far as you can throw them. So it's very possible he didn't. But he does hang around with a lot of guys who've been busted for some seedy shit. So what are the odds that he did not do the seedy shit while they were doing it? It's pretty fucking slim in my mind. So anyways, they do have something on him. And keep in mind, I think they're flipping the script on this. Very much so. And they knew they were going to do this. This is all planned. They know our minds inside out. They know our spirit. Even the most warrior-like among us, they know us. They've dealt with us for eons. We've dealt with them for our lifespan, and in most cases not for that length of time either. So we're at a deficit, very much so. And so keep all that in mind. Don't let them get this spiky ball, the existence of this spiky ball in your frame of reference. You know better. And all right, I'll talk to you soon.